Hello and welcome to today's show. While you're sitting there and while I'm sitting here watching this recorded show, I am at my sister's for the last day, probably enjoying a little lunchette or something in a fish and chip somewhere. A fish and chip shop somewhere. Because when I go to my sister's, we both have agreed that we will not worry about our diets. Not that it's much of a diet, just a few things cut out here and there. But when I go and visit my sisters, we don't worry. We eat what we want. Probably by the time you've seen this programme, I've got myself through 3 or 4 boxes of Walker's cheese and onion crisps. Oh, by the way, did I tell you, shock horror, Walker's here in the UK are withdrawing, I do believe, I heard this in the news, they are withdrawing the grab-sized bags of crisps. This is horrific, dear. I should have to buy 2 small bags now. How awful is that? Anyway, that's the way it is. Walker, no longer will we have Walker's grab size. They still seem to be out in the shops at the moment, so I don't know when they're going to withdraw them. Something to do with us eating less fat and salt and all that. Oh, please, for God's sake, dear. I mean, honestly, just a bag of crisps here or there, it doesn't hurt, does it? Those of you that watch the show, sorry, the screen isn't on behind me today because the computer started doing a virus scan and then it wanted to do updates and I thought, I can't be bothered to wait for all this. So there we are, no picture behind me today. There's just boring old me and the lovely mirror ball turning around in the background. Hey? Yes, so having a lovely time at my sister's. I'll tell you about it in the next couple of shows or so. The programme Coach Trip that I've been telling you to watch, certainly if you're in the UK, Coach Trip is on Channel 4 at 5 o'clock, Monday to Friday. Just gets better and better. It really does. I reckon by the time this particular programme I'm doing now goes out, I reckon Nathan and Romaine will have been kicked out because they are naughty boys. They are very naughty boys, especially Nathan. He just seems to upset. He's very boisterous and he seems to upset everyone. I think I told you about Coach Trip. That's when lots of pairs of people, not necessarily couples, pairs of people, they could be 2 friends or they could be boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever, you know, lots of, I think it's about 6 or 7 pairs of people. I think it's 7. 7 pairs of people are on a coach going on a trip around Europe. And they get to perform various tasks and that, like a bit of pottery, or they were doing olive picking the other day. And this is where Nathan was being very naughty, because Nathan is a young lad and he gets bored easily. This is the problem, right? So he starts throwing the olives at people. And Brendan, who is like the tour guide, who's hilarious, he told Nathan off and told them, Nathan and Romaine, to go and sit elsewhere because they were very naughty. But they were lucky because there was this right miserable old cow on the coach as well. Can't remember her name now. But as soon as she joined the coach, I thought, oh, I don't like you. You know, elderly, not elderly, I suppose about 50, 55, something like that. But a right miserable old cow she was. And Nathan and Romaine were lucky on this particular one because it was them, it was her that got voted off after just 2 trips, dear. Yes, most people seem to stay on for a week or more, but this woman and her friend, I think it was her friend, she got voted off very quickly. Right miserable old cow she was. She did nothing but moan. Mind you, I'm not surprised. One of the things Nathan did, because he didn't like her from the start as well, he walked past her and then threw himself on the ground and pretended that the old woman had put her leg out to trip him over. But rather than see the funny side of it, all she did was, oh, that could have been so dangerous. He could have knocked me flying. I mean, it could have been terrible. Oh, please, get a life, dear. Chill out, love. Chill out. So you must watch that, okay? Coach Trip, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 5 o'clock, straight after another excellent programme, Noel Edmonds' Deal or No Deal. I mean, Channel 4 is so much better than ITV at the moment, dear. It really is. Well, it's either that or that awful, what's that man's name? Oh, I can't bear him. The gardener bloke. Alan Titchmarsh. What a wet blanket that is. Do you like Alan Titchmarsh? He does a chat show on ITV. Right wet blanket that is. Oh, hello, welcome to the AT show. And you think, oh, please do me a favour. I don't believe he's like that in real life. I wonder what he's like in real life. Has anyone met Alan Titchmarsh? We're not keen on that programme at all, I'm afraid. No. Anyway, there's an email address to the show if you want to join in at any time. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Right, Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, have I turned something on? Just a minute. I have this terrible feeling that I haven't turned something on, but I'm not sure. No, I think I must have turned something on. No, we'll keep... Oh, dear me. There's, on the camera that I use in front of me, this programme may well not be in video as well, I don't know. But on the camera in front of me, there is a little red button, but I'm sure it's usually flashing. I don't know if I've started the film or not. Oh, it doesn't matter anyway. The audio's more important than the video. Okay, we're going to do some emails. First of all, some new listeners to the show. Hello to Ashley. Hello, Ashley, who has also become one of my Facebook friends. My Facebook, incidentally, is Chris Reardon UK. All right, that's my Facebook, Chris Reardon UK. And Ashley says, "Good morning, Chris. I wanted to take a few moments out of my dreary and boring workday to tell you how much I enjoy your broadcasts." Oh, thank you. I'm sure your day isn't dreary and boring. But if it is, I am hoping that this little programme will entertain you just a tiny little bit, my love. Just a tiny little bit. I've been tuning in now for about 3 weeks, and I get to listen to your Saturday show first thing on Monday morning. I can safely assume that I am most likely your only listener from Houston, Texas. You are incorrect. No. Over there, we've been doing the show now for 5 years, actually, Ashley, and we've had a couple of people in Texas, and I think one in Houston. Well, not quite sure who it is now. Someone in Houston. Oh yes, there is someone. Don't worry. Do not worry. Oh, do you know, I've got a bit chilly in here today. It is a bit cold today. I've got loads of friends living in the London area. Oh, whereabouts are they in London? Do let us know, because I used to live in London. I used to live in South London, first at a place called Peckham, where I was a tiny little boy until I was 7 years old. And then we went to live in Roehampton until I was 21. So the majority of my life was in Roehampton. And then after that, I got married for a very, very short period of time, just 9 months. And we lived in Battersea, which is in London. Then I went back to Roehampton, back to my mum's. And then after that, I bought a flat in Wandsworth, and I lived in Wandsworth. And now I live in Bracknell, which is outside London in Berkshire. I've been here since 1992. Ashley says, I've also got 1 or 2 people living in Devon. Ah, Devon, yes. Wonderful place. Very, very hilly. They've got some really steep hills in Devon. I always remember being on holiday and my mum, dad and my sister. And we had a little Austin, what was it, an MG Austin car. And there was one point when we were going up one of these hills, I think my dad had to go up in first gear. The car just couldn't get up this hill. It was so steep in Devon. And they've got beautiful... The earth is very red. Or is it possibly something to do with Mars? I don't know. Is Devon and Mars connected? Who knows? Who knows? I've never travelled to England, but God willing, I will in the near future. On the gardening topic you did, I've only been successful in growing obscene-looking cacti and a mango plant, with the latter now deceased. Oh, well, I hope you had a good funeral for it. Plants need caring for as well, just like humans and animals, dear. Come on, if you've got a pet, you don't just chuck it in the bin, do you? Huh? You give it a proper ceremony and a going away ceremony, dear. And you need to do the same with plants. They need to be looked after and nurtured and spoken to. You know Prince Charles? You know him, don't you? Huh? Son of our Queen Elizabeth from Buckingham Palace, which is actually called Buckingham Palace. All right, Americans? Little lesson for you there in English. It's not Buckingham Palace, it's Buckingham Palace. Buckingham. Répétez, s'il vous plaît, after the tone. Buckingham Palace. Doot. Try it again. Buckingham Palace. Doot. No, one more time. Buckingham Palace. Doot. Very good. You got it right the third time. Buckingham Palace it is, all right? Ashley says, I think I'm just a lazy person that forgets to tend to her plants properly. Oh, no, maybe its time was up. Maybe your mango plant has probably gone to that massive garden in the sky, dear. I do hope if I ever get there, I do hope I'm going up there. If I ever get there, I hope that God will allow me to continue tending to plants and doing radio broadcasts to the brethren. Yes, although I may have to clean them up a bit. Our soil is comprised mainly of black and red clay. So getting anything to germinate in that is nearly impossible. Will I germinate most of my seeds in the airing cupboard? In fact, I haven't checked in there this morning. And as soon as they protrude from the earth, you have to get them out and into the sunlight. Otherwise, they go all leggy and nasty. So yeah, I germinate all my seeds in the airing cupboard there. I've had much success with the gourds in the past. What are gourds? I've had much success with gourds in the past. I don't know what they are, gourds. You'll have to tell me what they are. But those are purely for decoration and can quickly take over the garden. Well, I enjoy your show and take care. That's from Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. I know what you mean about plants taking over. I bought once, I think it was a Japanese ivy or a Russian ivy, something like that, and I planted it. My God, that thing was growing a foot a day. It was going up, and I very, very quickly was advised to dig it out and burn it. It would have taken over very, very quickly. I mean, it does look nice when you've got things growing up the side of your wall and all that. The trouble is they can end up lifting tiles and getting into brickwork and then pulling your house apart. So very, very, you've got to keep those off the wall, really. P.S. She says, how do you feel about, or what is your opinion of dachshunds? From a doxy lover that sadly cannot keep cats because of allergies. I'm not familiar with dachshunds. Are they those big dogs with slobbering lips? You see, I couldn't be having any of that. I'm sorry, dear. You know, when you've got a dog, they're just such wonderful things, aren't they, dogs? My sister's got 3. She's got 2 Labradors and a little spaniel, a Springer Spaniel. And they're the 2 Labradors, massive things they are. They're so big, but they're so soppy as well. And they do give you lots of love, don't they, dogs? Eh? They really do. The big ones are exactly the same. The small ones or the big ones, they give you loads of love. The lady down the end, she's got 2 wonderful Alsatians that know me very well and always come over and knock me over when they're trying to get a bit of attention and cuddles. But I do like dogs very much, but I can't be doing all that slobbering. You know, some of the dogs, as they put their heads on, it's all dripping out of their mouths. Oh, God, no, dear. What a mess, dear. Mind you, even my cat Katie, when she shakes her head like that, spit seems to go everywhere. I don't know why that is, actually. So thank you. Nice to hear from you, Ashley, and welcome to the show, my dear. Nice to have a new person along, and we have another new person along. 2 new people along at the same time. You're coming along like buses now, aren't you? Eh? It's like buses. You wait for ages and then suddenly they all come together. And so, hello to Vissa. Oh, no, hang on. No, Pat. Sorry, that's your surname. I beg your pardon. Patricia. Lovely name, Patricia. Hi, Chris. How are you? I say new listener. She just hasn't been around for a while, you know. So, How are you? Have not been able to listen to your talk show very much recently. I know. Oh, I know that. Yeah, because your light wasn't on. Oh, didn't you know that? Everyone in the world has a little light, and it's all on my wall in front of me here. And if your light's not on, I know you're not listening. And the light that says Patricia was not on, hasn't been on for weeks, actually. I wondered what had happened here. Just listening to your show from the 30th of March, and thought I'd write you a quick email. We moved floors at work, and I am now sitting right behind my boss. Not good. Can't do anything without his seeing. Oh, that's just awful, isn't it, eh? Oh. Imagine having your boss sitting in front of you. I couldn't be doing with any of that. She says, you were talking about iguanas in your talk show. Yeah, I think they're nice little creatures, they are. I don't think they're ugly. Do you? little mini dinosaurs. Are they mini dinosaurs? That's what they are. Well, Lala and I recently got a bearded dragon. Don't know if you know what they are, but he is so cute and really friendly. Yes, I do know what they are. They're, again, little mini dinosaurs. Beautiful creatures. If I sit and watch a movie, can take him out and put him on my shoulder, and he'll sit there quite happily. Oh, just have to make sure it's warm enough, as they are cold-blooded. Yeah, have you got a light bulb in the where he lives in his tank? Have you? Can he get in and out of the tank on his own, or what? How does that work? One bad thing is that they eat live foods. Didn't like it much on the first few days to have to feed him crickets, but have now got used to it. Oh dear, no. Oh, people eat insects, don't they, in certain countries? They eat crickets and things like that while they're still alive. Oh, bleh. Reminds me of that awful programme, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here jungle thing. You know that thing? Where they have to eat all these strange creatures in the Australian rainforest. Not my cup of tea at all, dear. No, thank you. I mean, give me a carvery any day of the week. But, well, his name is Lockie. I will put some pictures of Facebook if you want to see him. Yes, I'd like to see your bearded dragon, please. Please send pictures, Patricia. Oh, bearded dragon. Does he like to be stroked? Does he? Does he like to be stroked? What else can I tell you? My father came over to visit at Easter and brought his friend's daughter, who is 12 and had never been to London before. Quite strange to do all the sightseeing again after living here for over 10 years. Yep, that's the funny thing, isn't it? You know, we live in London. I mean, I live just outside London, but we live close to London or in London, and we don't do the things that tourists do. How many people in London have not been to see the Tower of London or Tower Bridge or Big Ben or the London Eye? There's loads of people in London, and we don't do these things. Mad, isn't it, really? Madame Tussauds. The London Planetarium, where all the stars are and all that. Museums. When's the last time you went to a museum? I'd love to go to a museum again. I haven't been for years. You know, the Science Museum, Natural History Museum, all that. I haven't been for years to do these things, and yet people come from thousands of miles away and do these things. It's just mad, isn't it? Yeah, you've got to do these things, Pat. Pat, I can't remember whereabouts you are again. Do write back and let us know, darling, all right? Went to see Big Ben, the London Eye, changing of the guard and all that. You see, with the changing of the guard, I think I must have been about 7 or 8 years old the last time I saw that. Right outside Buckingham Palace, isn't it? Buckingham Palace. No, it's not. It's Buckingham Palace. That's the thing about visitors. Nice when they arrive, but nice to have your own space back as well. Well, you're talking about people coming round to your house. Oh, I know what you mean, Pat. Oh, I do know what you mean. Anyway, thank you very much. Pat, I've just noticed where you sent this from. Is that anything to do with Thames? Really, Thames? Are you anything to do with Thames Television? They're doing quite well now, aren't they? Thames Television. If I can explain to people who don't understand, Thames Television, they used to own the London franchise for television programmes until 1992, when it all changed. It's all very different now. It doesn't work as it used to work with the different regions and what have you. But Thames was the big one, and there were some marvellous TV programmes. Anyway, for some reason they lost their franchise in 1992, and ITV very quickly went downhill when it all changed like that. I'm not saying that it was because Thames lost their franchise, but I do believe that was part of it. I have actually got in front of me, let me just go and get that, a picture of the Thames, the old Thames logo that I had made last year. My brother-in-law makes canvases out of pictures, and I found this picture on the internet, and I had the old Thames logo made. Now I'm holding it up in front of me now, which is no good, of course, if you're listening, but basically it's a montage of London attractions. We've got Big Ben, we've got the Post Office Tower, we've got St Paul's Cathedral, we've got Tower Bridge and the River Thames and some other bits and pieces on there. It's a wonderful picture, and this was the old Thames Television logo, but except that it had Thames written across the middle of it. Anyway, so Thames lost their franchise and that, but recently I've noticed that there seems to be more Thames Television programmes on now, because they then became an independent production company. There seems to be more programmes made by Thames now than there ever was when they had the franchise, because they can sell them to anyone. So you get Thames programmes now on the BBC as well as on ITV as well. So, I mean, it seems to have turned out all well and good for them. Although I do miss, one thing I do miss on ITV is having the in-vision announcer. We used to have an in-vision announcer in between the programmes, kind of sitting there and saying, hello, and a very good morning to you from Thames Television. Coming up in just a few moments in time, our programmes for schools and colleges. But before that, let's have a look at the weather. And it was all like that. And you would see the announcer. And you kind of related to this announcer. And each region in the UK had their own announcer. So you'd have one bloke doing the programmes in London, one bloke on the south coast. So I say bloke, it could have been a woman as well. Someone in Manchester, someone in the Tyne-Tees area in Newcastle, two in Scotland, either Scottish Television or Grampian. There was one in Northern Ireland, Ulster Television. On the Channel Islands, you had Channel Television. Down in the southwest, there was Westwood Television, and it was all very pleasant. And wherever you were in the country, you could relate to the person who was in the middle of the programmes. But they got rid of all that, and now it's just one big faceless company, I'm afraid. There's no real face. You know, there's no one to relate to. And I think that's a big mistake. When people are trying to save money, because they're just trying to cut back all the time, to cut back all those presenters, I suppose that saved them a few more thousands of pounds. But to what cost? You know, to what cost was that to the company themselves? Do they not think of that? You do actually relate to the person. I could tell you something. There was Philip Elsmore in the Thames Television area. There was David Hamilton, who went on to host a show on BBC Radio 2. Fantastic personality, these people. I actually was very, very privileged to actually work with David Hamilton on a London radio station 10 years ago, Liberty Radio. And he was on after me I was doing the overnight show, you know, and he came on and done the breakfast show after me. It was wonderful. I mean, what an experience to actually work with someone like David Hamilton. How fantastic is that? And another couple of people, I can't remember now. And it was the same on London Weekend. London Weekend had the Weekend franchise, which ran from 5 o'clock Friday afternoons until close down on Sunday night. And again, they had their own announcers on there. Peter Marshall, there was another one, Peter Marshall. And it was just nice to see a familiar face on there. And that's how ITV used to work. And it's just a shame that it was all taken away like that. But there you go. I suppose we can't go backwards, can we? Once it's gone, isn't it? Perhaps you remember those times, do you? Okay, thank you very much for Patricia. Do try and keep in contact, dear. Call yourself a regular listener. I don't know, lovey. Right, let me see, how are we doing for time? Oh, we've got 6 minutes. Will we get this email in? I think we will. We'll try and get this email in. And it's from Vicky. Hello, Vicky, who says, hi, Chris. On recent shows, you've been wondering about your workload. Yes, I'm doing a little bit too much at the moment, to be honest. The live show seems like great fun for you to do. And yet, they don't seem as portable as the recorded shows because of the extra equipment that is required. Is that right? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It would be, although not impossible, difficult to do live shows from the garden. That's the thing. right? Also, I couldn't do, I've done live shows all over the place in Sydney. I've done recorded shows all over the place. Sydney, Australia, from Bracknell Forest, just over there. We went to meet the mayor of Lambeth back in September, October, I think it was, possibly November last year. But doing a live show, you couldn't do that with a live show. It has to be really in the studio. Could do it in the garden, but it would really, really be a few hours' work that would be to set everything up in the garden and everything else. So yes, you're quite right. I was reminded recently that there are only so many hours in the day. Oh, I know that, my darling. Not enough for me. And it would be a shame for the summer to come and go in the blink of an eye without you having a chance to enjoy the beautiful weather. You are so right. And you see, this is what happens. And an elderly lady I know, Grace her name is, who I sometimes go and have dinner with. I was in hospital with her years ago when I had a burst appendix, about 10 years ago. She said, Chris, you've got to slow down because everything's passing you by. You're doing so much that you don't catch things. You know what I mean? Vicky says, therefore, my suggestion is to keep the recorded shows, possibly reduce them to 1 or 2 a week if you need to lighten your workload, so that you retain the ability to do shows outside and enjoy the spring, summer and early autumn weather when you do your outdoor shows. It was great to see you back in the garden yesterday, and more time in the garden means that you spend more time with your cat, Katie. Yeah, well we like that. Because she jumps up onto your lap and likes lots of attention. We do like to give the cat attention. And she gives attention back, doesn't she? Until she gets annoyed and then she bites you. As she did in my show. She bit me because she wanted to be let down, bless her heart. Also, you don't have to limit the shows to your garden. You could do a show from somewhere else if you wanted to, as indeed we have done in the past. Look at those lovely places that I've done on Norfolk Island in Australia back in February this year, January, February. What a wonderful place. And to have that backdrop of the Pacific Ocean behind me while I'm actually filming the show. How lucky was I to be able to do that? And yes, it's something that you really couldn't do with a live show. I couldn't have done a live show that I could have done, but it would have been very, very expensive to do, right? Because of the way the internet works on this specific island, and of course the time involved. And then you've got the weather as well. If it's going to rain, you don't want your gear getting wet. Also, she says, if you can do a show from a traffic roundabout, I think you could do a show from almost anywhere. Yeah, do you remember that one? That was in Sydney. I literally sat on a roundabout with cars going round and buses and did a show. How camp is that? She says, whatever you decide, just let us know when to tune in and I'll be there. Wonderful song by Diana Ross, isn't it? You and I can make it. I don't know the words. Oh, you know the word. I'll be there. Take care of yourself, Chris, and best wishes always from Vicky. So thank you for that, Vicky. Yeah, I tend to say it is very, very different doing live shows and doing recorded shows. Of course, the benefit of the live shows is that people can actually call in and ring you, which is just fantastic. To actually be able to speak to people person to person. And that's something, you can't really do that on a recorded show unless you arrange it before. Then you can do it. And we have done that before. In fact, we need to go and do that soon with Gwen. As you know, good friends of the programme, Gwen, and Joy, who's in Acton. So we will do that at some point in the future, again, on the recorded shows. Thank you very much for watching and listening today. Any comments at all you want to join in at any time, feel free to do so. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Thanks for watching and listening. See you on the next show. Bye-bye now.